Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cyber Pulse podcast. I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm actually nervous and excited at the same time. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I never had a chance to do so. And then I just said to myself, let's just start this and see how it goes. So, this is exactly what I'm doing. I wanted to start off with a very important topic. Today, we're going to talk about awareness. Well, not just talk and discuss awareness, we'll talk about scams as well. Because today, scams don't look obvious anymore. It's no longer the poorly written messages we used to see years ago. Now, we're talking about professional websites, verified looking ads, perfect Arabic, even voice calls that sound real. So, let's dive into this. I have two amazing guests with me today. One brings in the real experience from the cybersecurity world, and the other brings in the perspective of a cybersecurity student. So let's welcome our guests. Hammad Khan, a student at UDST. From what I've heard, he's one of the brightest students over there. So that's why I wanted to have him in this episode. Hamad, can you introduce yourself and tell us what kind of online scams people your age usually come across?
Good morning. My name is Hammad. I'm a first year student at UDSC, University of Doha, for Science and Technology, studying information technology. And later on, I hope to progress in cybersecurity. Considering that my generation is a lot more active online, uh,
True.
these kind of things are something that we come across daily. Just uh, just for example, if I open up any social media application, Facebook or Instagram, namely, or even just YouTube in terms of ads, I can come across multiple, like within a minute, and unless there's like some deterrent, they're always present.
Why do you think students are becoming one of the main targets today?
Firstly, students are people who are online a good a lot more than our parents or some older folks. So people who want to profit off of these scams and malicious acts feel that students are a much better target and they would be always present. Similarly, there are some people within my generation and age who aren't as aware or as educated about how to evade or how to even handle such scams.
So we have the one and only Kamran Saifullah, which I'm pretty sure you're all aware of. You've heard of him before. You've somehow engaged with him in some way or another. He did a lot of changes when it comes to the cybersecurity world. He's a good friend of mine. That's why I wanted to have him on this episode. So, Kamran, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do in cybersecurity?
Thanks for having me, Sheikha. So I am Kamran Saifullah, the security assistant manager with the Commercial Bank of Qatar. So what we do is basically we are all rounder. So we do all kind of application security assessments, pen testing, vulnerability management and assessment, red teaming, purple teaming. I do a bit of digital forensics and incident response as well, wherever my someone needs me. So we do that too. But eventually, I think we are just an all rounder, and that's what we do.
MashaAllah. That's interesting. I've told them before that I learned a lot from you and I'm gonna continue to do so. So that's why I had you as my first guest. So, from your professional experience, what's the first scam you saw that made you realize, okay, this is getting serious? Like, this criminals are being more and more sophisticated.
Yeah, so I think it goes back in time because I've been in the field for more than 10 years now. So initially, we used to see more of a phishing scams, just fake emails coming in, some spam emails, that kind of stuff. SMS phishing has been known to be one of the ways attackers used to come in, especially with these time based OTPs and push notifications where the attackers have the information from all these deep webs and dark webs. Definitely, it happens because of the stealers and the keyloggers that are installed on the end user devices. So that is also one way of looking into it. But The majorly in my experience, because I come from Pakistan, so what we have seen is more call scams and SMS scams. But eventually, what we see now moving into GCC, it's more on the video calls that happens on WhatsApp, where people try to mimic different law enforcement agencies, and then they have very basic information sometimes, and they don't even have sometimes enough information, but they try to get the information out. Where they ask you for the credit card information and stuff, and eventually you give them the OTPs because you're scared of them. So I think this is one of the things which I've seen, but now it's moving more onto AI-based scams, deep fakes, and all the kind of stuff. So I think it's growing up more with the technology, and we have to keep up. So yeah, I think from phishing it all started, and with the technology it has evolved a lot, but the base is still there. Phishing still happens. It's one of the most common ways because the major challenge is the awareness of the people. So new generation, as we call them Gen Zs, they're more aware of the technology.
True.
They use the technology, they use the gadgets, so they have the information and knowledge. But with the old mindset people or middle aged, like people in the 50s and 60s, it's difficult for them to cope up with the technology and the changes that are happening. So I think it's just has been a really good pace. And this is what I've seen in my professional career.
Why do you think people still fall for scams even when they know better? Like they know that it's a scam, it looks like a scam. Is this something you think is related to the message, or is it something related to awareness? Or is it like just something within the moment? Like they see something and then they're stressed about it or distracted, and then you think they'll interact with it.
Right. So, for this, there are, I think of it in two parts. Firstly, is about the message that they're conveying. So, just to give you a quick example,
Sure.
one of the scams that is really prevalent is you receive an OTP on your message, and you will receive a call from someone who is going to impersonate a person at the bank. And that involves your money, and for some people their lifeline. So when they know that their hard-earned money and their hard work is at stake, they are a lot more likely to fall for that thing. Even people who are aware about such scams and malicious acts still do fall for it, because in the back of their mind they think that, oh, if this is true, if this is actually happening and I do not act now, I might regret it later. So in the heat of the moment, they fall for such acts. Second is the sophistication. Before, uh, if I were to say like five years ago even, it was a lot of the scams were email based or text based,
True.
where it was the message. You had time to understand the message, you had time to analyze, and you had the time to see where the message is coming from and what is being conveyed. You could see if there are errors. You could double check, you could verify if this is authentic or if the contents within are relevant to you as well. Now that we have AI and how sophisticated it has gotten in replicating human speech, in impersonating human actions, uh, just understanding emails or even messages are a lot harder. And for people who aren't up to date with the current technology, or people who aren't aware of how to verify uh, things in today's age, they fall for it a lot more easily.
Interesting. So you're kind of saying that people are falling for text based messages more often than email based, which is true, to be honest. I agree with that. Do you think if it's related to a text or a voice message, it's something related to pressure? Like it will pressure them to kind of answer these questions? Because I do get scams like this all the time. Like people would call me and say, I need your OTP. You'll receive an OTP right now, and I need you to tell it to me on the phone. Do you think people fall for that because they sound pressuring? The people that talk to them pressure them to offer that information?
Yes, there's that aspect, and there's also the aspect that sometimes a lot of these scammers involve in relatives, or they might prepare a situation where if you don't act, someone that you know and love will be hurt. So one example I can give you is someone who is trying to scam you for some money would come across, would text coming off as, oh, your brother, your sister, or someone, or one of your loved one got in an accident, and to pay for something that they need, like a hospital or even just transport, they may be more inclined to actually go for it, because it's not themselves who they're benefiting, but they're doing it for their loved ones, so they are a lot more likely to do it. And a lot of these scams are learning from that and are evolving to adopt such tactics.
Interesting. That's true because sometimes if they do speak about a loved one or family, people don't think like in the moment. They just rush into things. They'll not have time to validate if that's true or not. I agree. I've always felt like people know better. Like they know better when it comes to such scams. Why do you think they still like fall for them? Is it something that happens within the moment, or do you think it's because of stress, or they're tired or distracted?
That's a really good question, by the way. The way I see it is more of the awareness and the presence of mind is really important because if you see a recent one of the phishings related to the Microsoft one, it's just M, and then I see someone and there was a technique which they call it R and N, and it looks like M in the email.
Yeah,
So like it's very difficult, it's becoming very difficult to spot these issues because it's getting more and more sophisticated and it looks more kind of a real life kind of thing. So I think that's where the major problem comes in. And when it comes to the people, I'll just share one of the stories that happened with me. It's like a year and a half ago. So I
sure.
received one of the scam messages of the smishing campaign. I received an SMS on my phone, and there was a link. I just clicked on it, and it was like one of the postal services in the country. And I was just going through it because I ordered something else, and I was expecting some delivery for that. So I was like, maybe it's the same thing. And I'm just there filling up my information. I was just about to add my card details, and I'm like, okay, let's hold back. Let's check it again. So this is something that my
Oh,
teachers have taught me when I was back in
you
university. They used
rechecked
to tell me
again.
like
Yes.
exactly, train your eyes. That's more important. So the factors is majorly the environmental factors, where you're sitting. Is it too noisy, or your presence of mind? Are you depressed, angry, or something else is happening in the office? So I think combining everything, it becomes very difficult. So eventually, the answer, which is the simple answer, is if you're doing something, just stop it, check again, and then you can redo it. So that's the best approach I think people need to follow up because it's going to be more of a culture change and also a behavior change.
Have you ever been scammed before?
Thankfully, not so far, because of how not online I was in my previously, and because of how often these things are, I try to keep myself more educated, so I can protect myself and protect my family, because knowing my parents, they aren't as tech savvy as me, or they aren't as aware of such threats. It is my responsibility to make them aware and help them for such things. For example, when they sign up for a new service, when they sign up for a new website, a lot of them a lot of them sell their data, which at times end up in the hands of malicious actors, who then
True.
send them emails for such scenarios. And in those cases, I feel like I should be a lot more informed and a lot more aware to help them better.
Because you feel like you're younger and you should be more aware of such things that take place online.
Yes.
Interesting
Yes.
perspective. So, leading to my next question, which you were about to answer, have you ever been scammed before? Did you ever fall for one?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, I have never been scammed, but I
Alhamdulillah.
have been in a situation where I have dealt with people who have been scammed. So there's a recent example because I know how it feels to lose all the savings as well, right?
Yeah,
So I
that's
remember one of the
tough.
guys. Yeah, I remember one of the guys, and he just came in and he was crying. He was in like mid 50s, So that guy has been in the country for probably more than 10 years, and he had quite some savings, like few thousand reals. And eventually, he received a message from someone, and he just clicked on it and gave away all the information. And eventually, like his account was wiped off with all the money that he had
Ah, that is horrible.
do some good things. So yeah, we got him the money back. So I know how it feels, but personally, I have never been scammed because I am not on social media. I don't use social media. I'm just on LinkedIn or Twitter, but I'm not too much active on there as well. And I try to keep my digital footprint in control as much as I can. So I don't use the same emails, same phone numbers on my bank accounts or my personal accounts. So I keep rotating them, 2FAs everywhere, and fingerprints and Face ID thanks to Apple. So that saves a lot. So yeah, that's how it's been going for me.
I'm glad to hear that. At least he got the money back, which is a good thing. So, beyond money, scams also affect trust. Do you think people lose confidence in digital services when something like this happens?
Yes. Thing is, a lot of the scams, as I told you previously, come down to exploiting a feeling inside you. So, for example, to people who want to scam you of your money or take out, uh, like you use up your life savings, for example. They uh, they allow, like, they're like they for banks that promote that we are safe, we have this security measure in place, and we have protocols that mitigate such events. When they actually occur, no matter how good a bank's defenses are, when you have already been affected, you lose trust in the bank, you lose trust in the system, and it
Because
doesn't matter how good their
they failed in the promise that they gave you. They didn't deliver.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
So, beyond money, scams affect trust as well. Do you think people lose confidence in digital services when something like this happens?
It goes vice versa because sometimes you trust a technology and sometimes technology trusts you and sometimes you don't trust each other. So the only way
That's
of
a
moving
wise
forward
way
is
of
the right
looking at
balance.
it. That's a very wise way of looking
Yeah.
at it.
So the yeah, so right balance is the only way of doing it because if you're not balancing your life, and there is one saying in cybersecurity, and I'll say it's not just cybersecurity, it's going to be the complete digital transformations for all the countries and all the organization is more than our personal lives, we have more of a digital life. And if our digital life gets compromised, it's going to compromise our personal life as well.
True.
So it has a direct impact on our personal lives. Yeah. So I think this is how it should be, limiting your digital footprint and just don't try to go here and there when you know things are shady because it's very difficult to cope up with the technology, especially what happening with the AI, model context protocol, and all the
Yeah.
stuff that is coming in. Free models are available online and offline as well, where you can basically mimic any other's voice, right? You
True.
can you can
True.
make some faces and all this stuff. So I think it's what we have to do is we have to, as a society, we need to move towards more privacy-oriented society where we should know what we are giving back to the technology or what we are putting into the digital forms, because whatever is online is going to stay online, but you will not be there after a few years in this world. But the digital footprint will always be there.
True. True. Yeah, that's a scary way of thinking about things, but it's the reality that we're in today. So, do you have a golden rule or something that you actually do to protect yourself when it comes to such scams?
For for when I receive such emails, I the first thing I do is try to look at where it is coming from, because a lot of the times what scammers do is they try to make the email similar to what the official one would look like, and uh, to see through that, you need to analyze where the email is coming from, if the address is correct. then I try to look at what the content is. For example, 2 years ago, I did not have a driver's license. So, but I would still receive emails stating that, oh, my car has been impounded or my license has been suspended. So, such scenarios, I understood that I do not currently possess such service, so how can I be taken away from it? When I receive calls, I try to verify where it is coming from. So if someone is trying to impersonate a healthcare professional, I would try to understand where. First, I would try to see where the call, where what the number is. If it's a verified number and something that I have interacted with before, I would trust it. But if it's a number that I do not know of, or someone on the line that I personally do not trust, I would try to uh, see if that number is registered somewhere. A lot of we have apps like Truecaller nowadays, which
True, yeah.
shows you who the person registered behind the number is. So such I think small steps like these are what has helped me not become a victim so far, and what I would tell other people to implement as well, because you do not need to be a proper professional to be able to mitigate such things. If you take small steps in ensuring that you know what things are and you know how to look for them, then you could protect yourself much better.
Hamed, I must say, for a person who is about to enter the cybersecurity field, you are quite knowledgeable. So I'm very proud of you for that. Keep going and keep doing what you do. I really am very proud of
Thank you.
you. If I ask you to give me one golden rule that you can use to stop most of the scams, what would that rule be?
The best way, I can say the way I do, it might work for some people or might not work for some people,
Sure.
is limit your digital footprint. Because if you're not someone that someone sees or thinks that you can be targeted, because either they can get the money out of you, or you're pretty famous and they want to defame you, or there is some agenda going on by some society members or maybe some organizations. I think the only way is to limit yourself and don't use the same accounts for, especially the banking or any other critical applications. Just try to make sure that you have a separate phone. If you can't afford a separate phone, then make sure that you're not doing all the stuff on the same phone. So you're not opening up documents, clicking on links, sharing passwords on WhatsApp maybe, or maybe Teams or something like that. So I think the basic cyber hygiene is the simple solution for this, because it's not going to prevent attackers compromising your accounts, but it's going to make it difficult for them. So the more layers of approach or the layers of security you put in place in your digital life, I think it's going to become more difficult for the attackers to compromise you. But if you don't do it, then it's a win-win for the attackers, because today or tomorrow they'll find a way to bypass the security and they'll
True.
get you.
That's so true. I agree. Before
So
we end, is there one message you want people to remember the next time they get a suspicious link or a call or a message?
do not hesitate to delay, understand what you're looking at, and review it and then come back to it later. Because a lot of people act in the heat of the moment and think that they do not act now, they will regret it later. My message to everyone is, you can delay things. You can come back to it. But if you fall for it at the moment, there is a lot to lose.
And before we close, do you think you would like to recommend any other student that can participate with me in another conversation? Like, for instance, today we
Uh,
discussed awareness. Tomorrow we might
right.
discuss something else.
I have a senior in college who has helped me for throughout like the entrance process and deciding the path that I want to go to. His name is Musab. He's a third year student at UDST studying IT as well. So I think gaining his perspective would be better, because I partially think of him as my mentor in such instances.
That's very nice to say. And sometimes mentors do really help. But you're not bad yourself. You do have a lot of knowledge within the field. So thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I can't wait to
Okay.
watch you grow and
Thank you.
conquer the world one day. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Kamran, before we end, is there one message you want people to remember the next time they get a suspicious link or a call or a message?
Yeah, so I believe in giving back to the community and building the society. That's how we can make a better society to be living in, and for the future generation to come in and live in the same society. It's basically, if you see something that is malicious, there are forums, there are websites, there are government entities you can always report to. You should always do that and try to share that information. Maybe take a screenshot or something and share that message across your peers, maybe family members or friends in the circle, and ask them to share the same across the other peers as well, because it's going to be a ripple effect. And you don't want to hold such information, because you might have received something, you were not compromised, but 1,000 other people received the same, and 5 or 10 maybe got compromised. So the quicker we can share information with the peers in the society, I think we can make a better society to be living in, and I think only then we can have a major impact in the society. So yeah.
That was such a powerful discussion. And before we close, Kamran, I have one more question for you. Who do you think would be a great guest to bring next to continue this conversation? Who would you like to see in this podcast?
So I think Rana is one of the people I know. Then there's also Cam, who is from the UK. He has some really robust stories from his life of the cryptocurrencies and all the stuff,
Yeah.
or the scams and frauds. He'll be really good. And Kaya is also based in UK. She is the threat response engineer for the Cloudflare. So they look into all these kind of smishing, phishing, and all the kind of sophisticated attacks. So I think those people are good to start with, because they have lots and lots of stories to share with the community.
So again, I'd like to thank both of you for sharing your perspectives with us today. I think this was an amazing first episode, at least for me. I truly enjoyed it. Gentlemen, thank you for giving me this opportunity and for being part of my podcast. And I'd just like to say thank you everyone for tuning in and listening, and please do stay safe online.